Hello aspiring developers, welcome to day 4. We welcome you to this cohort. Today we are going to learn about Git branching. So first we're going to create a repository. We're going to name it Git Branching. The readme here we're going to learn to say learning Git branching. That's for the description, and we'll add a readme for that description. Then we create the repository, and as we learn branching, we'll start with this. You can see that here there is one branch created, and the branch is main, and that is the default branch. So let's go and clone this repository into our local machine. So we copy this URL. Now we open our Visual Studio Code, where we are going to start the branching commands. So before you open Visual Studio Code, just go to your desired path where you want your projects to be in. Right click on that path, and then you choose on open Git Bash here. So once your Git Bash terminal is open, we are going to clone the repository we just copied. Type on git clone, right click, and hit on paste. Then you hit on enter. So your project is cloned. So now we're going to change directory into the cloned project, which is cd git branching. Then you hit on enter. So now we are in our cloned repository. When you see here main, you know that this is a tracked repository. So hit on code dot, and that is how we are now going to open our code editor. Here now our Visual Studio Code is already launched up. So we can see that the Git branching repository is here, and it is running the main branch. As you can see down here, this is what we call the branch, and it has the readme file that was created. So Git branching is what we are learning today, but we'll start with what a branch is. So we can say define terms. Here we are going to define what a branch is, and just explain a branch. In Git it is just a pointer to a specific commit, and these pointers allows developers to work on different aspects of a same project on the same time without affecting the main code base. So if at all there is one huge project that you're working on, many developers working on one huge project, these branches help them to rectify different places of that code at the same time, and they push without affecting the main code. Then when they sync it back to the main code, the whole project goes back live again. So each branch that is created, it is an independent line of development. This makes it very easy to manage and even to collaborate on features like maybe bug fixing, experimenting, testing. So basically that's what Git branch is all about. Then now you may be asking yourself, why should we use Git branch? Why should we use branches? Branches has several benefits. One of them being isolation. Then I'll just write it down here for your remembrance. It has isolation, and by isolation we mean that branches allow developers to work, as we said earlier, on features or bug fixes or experiments without interfering with the main project until whatever they were working on is fully ready without any error. Then it also allows for parallel development, what we call collaborative coding, and this means that multiple branches will enable parallel development because the team members are working on different tasks but on the same project at the same time. That is what we mean by parallel development. So now let's directly go to how to create a branch. So to create a branch, we're going to use some Git commands. So we can just type here Git commands. Then okay, let's use second headers for this, and second headers for this too. Yeah, so git commands, one of them being git branch. And this git branch command, it is used in the creation of a new branch. So when you want to create a new branch, we use git branch, and when you type git branch, you have to follow along with the branch name that you're going to create. So you say maybe git branch, let's just put branch name so you cannot forget. Then the second command that is important is how to switch between two branches. So switching, we can use let's first say switching between branches. So once you create a branch, you may be asking yourself, how do you go to that branch, or how do you go back to the branch that you are previously working on? So here we can use git switch and then the branch name. Alternatively, we can use git. Okay, let me just have it as okay. You can use git switch, or alternatively you can use git checkout. This checkout is the most known command of switching between branches. So git checkout, and there you also write the branch name. So you may be asking yourself, okay, why do we switch between branches, or how do you switch between two branches? So switching between two branches helps in the development context. You may want to do some changes in the main branch, do some changes in a separate branch that is beside the main branch, and then you may want to switch back maybe to the main branch to confirm something that is not there in the branch that you've just edited, or the one that you've just created. So once you there's also this command that you're going to use more often, the git merge command, or let me say merging. You're also going to learn about merging, and the command of merging is git merge. And when you're merging the source branch. So here we can see there is a branch name. Whether when we create, we are creating a branch name. When we switch or check out, we are switching or checking out to a branch name. But when we are merging, we are merging the source branch. And you may be asking yourself what we mean by merging. So where merging is necessary when we are completing a feature, or like maybe resolving a bug from the first context that we gave. You are working on a project, you have experienced a bug. A bug is an error, kind of. So you want to check out. So first you create a different branch, maybe you call it error fixing, and then you check out to that error fixing branch, and then you do some changes, or you fix those errors. And once you've finished fixing the errors, now you merge it to the source. You merge those changes back to the source branch. Yeah, so besides that, when merging, you might experience a few errors, or you might be having, we call them conflicts in Git merging. So there are common scenarios where conflicts occur, like when you're working on the same file, and then you edit maybe the same line of code in two different branches. Like I said, it will be branching and merging helps in collaborative coding or parallel development. So this means that many developers are working on one project. So if at all two different developers in two different branches edit the same line of code and push it to the same line of code in the same file and push it to back to the main branch, then you're going to have a conflict or an error. So when there are conflicts or errors, we use this command. Sorry, we use this command. Okay, we use the command Git Mergetool, but at times Git Mergetool becomes a bit hectic to use, and we even resolve for doing it just manually, because we will see this. We will see how to deal with these conflicts when we do the practicals. We're about to do that. Then also, so the common scenarios, like we said, that cause merge errors are I only mentioned on conflicting of same file or working on the same file. So you have to really know that merging or rather solving or resolving merge conflicts is a bit of a hectic work during in Git in collaborative coding. So you should really have clear communication when you are developing as a team, and this clear communication and coordination within that team that you are working on will help you a lot in minimizing these conflicts. These conflicts are deemed to happen, but with good communication you can always easily avoid these conflicts. So now that you know how to create a branch, how to switch between branches, how to merge, and how to resolve conflicts, let me just add the word resolve. Yeah, how to resolve conflicts. Now I think we can go to the practical or the hands-on demonstration of all this. Also, I'll give you a few points here. I want to also show you something on directly switching to a new branch. So the command here is the command here is git checkout -b. This -b, anything that starts with this minus, these are what we call flags. So the b flag is used to create a branch. Sorry, b flag is used to create a branch. Then checkout is used to switch to that branch. So it's like combining step 1 and 2 into one step. So I even won't call this 3, but instead I'll just leave it as a list, and I can indent it into that, yeah, so that it becomes some subnodes of 1 and 2, because git checkout -b branch name is exactly same as git branch mixed with git checkout branch name. Yeah, so I think that's all with the theory on Git and creating Git branches and merging Git branches. But on merging, I think I can also give you a few more theories, a few more codes that will be of help to you. We have codes like Git branch. So let me just remove this first so we can quickly write these codes. We have Git status. We also have Git branch. There's too many Git branch that we're going to use, so let me just type it. Yeah, so we have Git branch on its own, then we have Git branch -v, then we have the Git branch minus merged merged merged, and we also have the Git branch double minus no no merged. Yeah, so the Git branch, this one will be used to list current to list, not current, but lists all branches, to list all branches. Then the Git branch minus v that and that, and then the Git status, we'll learn about it. Then the Git minus merged, this one will be used to list the merged list. Let's just have them as a list merged, and then list merged, let's call them commits for now. And then this other one will list unmerged commits. Yeah, so that's it for the theory. I believe that's what we are going to cover in today's topic. So let's straight away dive into the hands-on so that we can put all this into practice. Let me just save this one for our reference. And we can push this to our GitHub repository just to remind ourselves on how to push. So we save this file, and we're going to push it to our GitHub repository. Okay, now this time we're not going to push using Git commands. I know I've bombarded you with a lot of commands since we started this Git, but today we are not using Git commands to push, but I want to show you a quicker and easier way to push without Git commands, at least to soften your development journey. So from your Visual Studio Code, you can see this source control. You remember by now you know that the first for a clone repository, the first command is git add and then the file name. So this plus icon here is used to git add, and then the next command after adding, you know that it's git commit minus m and then the commit message. So here you just come and type the commit message, of which our commit message is updating git notes. And then once you click this commit, then you've already typed the git commit minus m message, and you can remember after git commit we were git pushing. But now here this sync changes is like push. It will first pull changes then push, because first it has to, like I said when we were talking about conflicts, we're talking about conflicts. If you edit a file, you cannot push before pulling the changes that are currently on GitHub. So there is this pull command, then there is this push command, but I'd really advise that you just tap on sync changes. This will pull and then it will push. It will first pull the changes that are currently in the online repository, and then it will push your changes that are in the local repository to the online repository. So now you notice that it has already completed synchronizing changes, and with that you have already completed the push, the editing and pushing of a file without using even a single command. So we can just go straight to our browser and refresh, and you can see the changes there. Yeah, so now when you come to the browser, you realize that our files have already been added to this online repository without even a single line of code. See the notes that we just typed, the git commands, you can just copy them. Yeah, this one's all the commands that we just wrote on creating a branch, switching between branches, directly switching to a new branch, merging, resolving conflicts, and listing all branches. So now let's go straight ahead to our terminal, or rather in our VS Code terminal, and start using these commands that we've just written here. Okay, now back to Visual Studio Code. We are here to now start doing some hands-on commands on this hands-on on these commands that we've just learned about. Hope you still remember what a branch is, or what a branch does, why we are using a branch, or the benefits of using a branch, and now the commands of the Git branch commands. So straight ahead, we are going to create a branch. Here currently we are on the main branch, as you can see. Let's create a branch named minor. So Git branch minor. This one creates a branch named minor in our local repository. So when you type on Git branch, this I gave somewhere here. Yeah, Git branch is used to list all branches. So you type on Git branch, you see there is main and minor, but main is green in color, and it's even having an asterisk before it to mean that that is the branch we are currently working on. So we said after creating a branch, we switch the command of switching between branches. We can either use git switch or git checkout. So let's start with git checkout. So git checkout, then the branch name, which is minor. So you realize that we switched to minor, but we also want to try again and see the difference between git switch and git checkout. So git switch main, sorry, I haven't written that well. Git switch main. Yeah, so you realize that excuse me, we went back from minor to main. So git switch and git checkout can be used interchangeably, but now you realize that these are two commands, one to create a branch and one to switch to that branch that we created. But now we want to create and switch a branch using only one command, and now we are going to use this git checkout -b. That command is what we are going to use. So you just come here and type git checkout -b, and for the branch name we're going to say major. So you realize that with one command it comes from main to major. We did not have a major branch before, but now if you type on git branch to view all branches, you see that we now have 3 branches. Let me just raise this terminal a bit. Yeah, we have 3 branches: the main branch, the major, which is currently green and having an asterisk to show that it's the currently active branch, and then you have the minor branch. So okay, now that is enough on branching. I hope now you know how to create a branch and you know how to switch between branches. Maybe an important thing is also how to delete a branch. So we can say git checkout -d, and for the branch name we're going to delete, which branch should we delete? We're going to delete the minor branch, and we see head is now at C7 EB, and this is the this, as we said, a branch is like a pointer to a commit. So this is just the pointer to the commit, and the commit is our last commit was these are the notes. So next you just git again switch. I want us now to start I want to show you now why we can switch to branches, to different branches. All these changes of this readme folder, of this readme file, sorry, were made in the main branch. So we want to switch to the major branch, and in the major branch we want to make some changes. So let's git switch to major. So we want to make some changes to this readme file in the major branch. So the first thing you do you first add that file to that major branch using the normal git add command. Let's clear so that we can easily see the terminal up here. So after adding the file, the file we've just added is not edited yet, so you can first edit the file so that such that it's a bit different from what we already had seen in the main branch. Let me just drag this terminal a bit. Yeah, so what do we edit? Okay, let's edit. We're going to edit. Yeah, we're going to edit where we have this triple backticks, and we're going to replace it with a single backticks across everywhere. Yeah, and we're going to edit where we have that and bash to only have that. Yeah, and these backticks should be directly touching these folders. Sorry, the file names, not the folders, because I know you noticed in the browser some files were not being able to be copied. So let's just add backticks. To every code we are going to add these backticks. Sorry, we're taking up some time, but it's going to be okay. Yeah, so now all codes have backticks correctly. That is a syntax for the markdown. You're going to learn a bit of it when you learn web development. But I also want to add some little notes here. I can come here and say 6, a list of extra commands. Then we save this file. So now I want you to notice the difference between the file that we can see on our browser and the file that we've just created. So this file goes up to 6, and the sixth numbered list is a list of extra commands. So let's now add this file to our major branch. So git add, the git add dot adds, it adds every file in this current repository, which is Git branching. Then you use git commit -m for the message, and the message is added extra commands. Enter. Now here comes another little challenge, but it's not a challenge per se, but another interesting thing to learn if you decide to look it at that perspective. So we are going to git push, but the question is, this major branch was just created in the local repository. So if we are pushing, then it does not know where it is pushing to. And if you want to be sure about that, just type on enter, and you're going to experience this fatal error saying that the current branch major has no upstream branch. So as we said earlier, it is only recognized by your terminal, by your local repository. So the goodness with this terminal, it tells you what to do next. So it tells you to push the current branch and to set the remote as the upstream. So you need to push the current branch, and then you need to set the remote as the upstream. And then you have been also given the command to do that. You can just right click on it and copy. And then to this, the terminal has no selection to copy. Okay. To have this happen automatically for branches without tracking upstream, it tells us to see more about push.autoset upstream in git help config, but currently we don't want to do that, to set it as the automatic, to set it automatically for that branch without tracking upstream. So for now, we just right click to paste whatever we copied up here, which is git push -- set upstream. This is a flag to set the upstream, and we are setting the upstream as the origin measure. What we mean by this, in our repository which is hosted, or the GitHub repository, we are going to create a branch which is called measure, and then we are going to push the changes made in this local measure branch to this hosted measure branch. So just hit on enter and you'll see it pushing to that remote repository. So we can see that okay, starting from here, it creates a pull request. Yeah, it creates a pull request for measure on GitHub by visiting it advises us to create a pull request by visiting this URL, and it also tells us that in this repository it has created a new branch. So in our GitHub repository where our project lies, it has created a new branch, and in this new branch the name is measure, and it is setting the upstream to point to measure. And we can see here that the branch measure, this is our current branch, has been set up to track the origin measure. This is the hosted branch. So now we can go back to our browser and see what changes and see the changes that have been made in the browser by what we've done in our codes. You can see that the changes here have not reflected yet, but you can also see here that we have two branches, and one branch is the main branch, and the other one is the one that was created 9 minutes ago. Then now we have the measure branch, the one that we've just created on from our repository. Now we want to merge we want to now make this branch to be the exact same as the branch that we were having on our VS Code terminal. So straight away, let's go back to Visual Studio Code and see how to set that. So back on our Visual Studio Code terminal, we want to now move back to the main branch. Remember, we've already done this. We've created a branch. We've switched to that branch that we've created. There was checkout and switch to mean the same thing. We've also tried this out and we've seen how it works. Now we want to do the git merge, and we realize that for merging we say git merge, then we say the and we also add the source branch. So now we can click on git merge, and the source branch was main, and we hit on enter, and you see that it's already up to date with main. So that means that there is no conflicts. And now when we go back to our GitHub account and open the main, you'll realize that these new changes have already been synced. Otherwise, when we also git switch on main, we see that this one ends on line 74. So let's switch our branch to main. You see that this ends on line 49. So the main file is just the readme, but the measure file is also just the readme. But you realize that the updated measure branch is not the same as the main branch. So if you now want to update the main branch with the details of the measure branch, let me just pull this up. So now what you do, you git, then you pull. And where are we pulling from? You're pulling from the origin which is measure, because we had pushed to the origin which was we pushed to the origin measure, And now when we are in main, which is the main code base where our project lies, we're going to git pull from origin measure where we made our small changes, so such that our main code base is also having the same changes. So you just hit on enter. So now you notice that from line 49 it goes to line 74, which is the exact same as our major branch. So that's exactly okay. That is majorly why we use branches, such that you can edit the code without interfering with the code base. And once you see that the code is working well, you can now return that well working code or that corrected code back into the main code. So you have to get it that we are working on the same file, which is readme.md git branch git branching readme.md, the exact same file but in two different branches. The first branch was the main, which we cloned with the repositories file, and then we opened a new branch measure. And in measure we did some changes. We updated this file, terminal. We updated this file, and after updating we even pushed those changes to our major file. But you realize that in our GitHub repository it did not reflect the changes of the major file, but it recorded that there was a file major which was created. So now we checked out back to our main branch, which is the main code base, and then we pulled origin major to fetch all the data from the origin major repository where the edited code lied. And from there we now have our main code having changes from the main branch having changes from the major branch. So this main branch is the one that is locally hosted, and we also want the one that is remotely hosted by GitHub to also bear the same changes that this one has, because the one on GitHub also has 49 lines. Now we want to add it to also have the 74 lines of code. So all you just need to do, because we are in the main branch and GitHub is also having the main branch, you just type on git push, and so we notice that git push is now adding the changes that have been made into the main branch of the remotely hosted file in our GitHub page. So that's it about Git. That's it about. Let's just hide this terminal. Control backtick hides the terminal. Control backtick to hide the terminal. Control backtick to bring it back up, or just go to view and then terminal to bring it, or view, yeah, then terminal to hide it. So yeah, so first we've created a branch. This one we've confirmed. Then we've also switched between two branches. We've also done it practically, hands-on, and also we've learned how to directly create and switch to that newly created branch. We've learned how to merge. We've also learned how to we haven't learned how to resolve conflicts yet, but we have also seen that we can list all the branches. We've also seen that we can list all the branches. So let me just fire back my terminal. Let me first clear this so we can also work on other commands. So we also have git branch. We also have the git branch -v, and this one lists the last commit. It lists all the last commits and their commit ID. You can see the last commit ID is that, and the commit message was updated file, and also in this branch this was the commit ID, and that was the commit message. Then we have git status. This one shows whether your working tree is clean or whether you have some uncommitted changes. So you can see that it tells you the branch you are on, tells you that your branch is up to date with origin main. So you are on branch main, you are this is a version control system for tracking, so it shows that you are tracking the origin main, which is the hosted repository. It checks whether you have a commit, you have anything committed, but it sees that there is nothing to commit because the file is already staged. It also checks on the working tree and it finds it clean because there is nothing left to do or to edit. That is Git status. It just gives you the status of the code of your commit repository or your Git status, just as the command says. Then there is this git branch minus merged. This command lists all the merged how are they called? All the merged these ones branches, sorry. And then there is this list unmerged commits. So if at all there is any branch with unmerged commits, you say no merged, it also lists it there. So currently you see that all branches have merged commits, and there is no branch that is not having an unmerged commit. Now let us okay, I want us to see the difference or what we mean by merged or no merged commits, what we mean by this. Where is git status? So git status, it is out of that place. So we can add another command here, a bonus command. Just say bonus command. We say git log. Git log is our bonus command. So what git log basically does, okay, you can just do it like this. Let's I want to add a difference in that bonus command such that you can easily notice it. Yeah, just a moment, let's add something a little bit different so that we can easily notice the change that we've just made. I want to cut this and paste it somewhere here. And I also want to cut this, cut it and paste it somewhere down here. Yeah, then I type on code and I want to save this. So this is now saved, and since it's saved, it's now modified, but it's not committed. So now we can type on git status so that we can get a brief overview of what is going on exactly. So we see that we are currently on branch main. The branch is up to date with and tracking the origin main, but now it tells us our status is that changes are not staged for commit, and it guides us on how to do that using the git add to update what will be committed, or git restore to discard changes in the working directory. Then it tells us that we've modified the readme file, and then it also reminds us that there are no changes added to commit. So we've just edited this file and saved it, but we've not added any we've not added anything to commit. Now we can also check on git branch -- no merged. So when you hit on enter, still you see that there is no repository with an unmerged commit. So here This one shows an uncommitted file, but this shows an unmerged commit. So now let's commit. So git commit first. No, first we must add, then commit. Oh, okay. I can also give you another bonus shortcut code. Git commit the -f flag to add that modified file, the -m flag to set the message flag, the message, and then now here we write the message. We say bonus, bonus line, and we hit on enter. Now again, I want us to check on the Git status. So here you notice that it tells us that there is nothing to commit because our working tree is clean, but it also reminds us that our branch is ahead of the origin main branch by one commit. So it asks us to use git push to publish our local commit. Also, when you type again git branch, once again minus no minus merged, still it has nothing. Now let's try and switch to a different. Let me clear so that you can see my terminal well. Let's switch to a different branch, which is major. Now we see that we are switched to major. Once again, let's type on git branch minus no merged. We see that main is now coming as a no merged branch. Why? Because we have edited main, but the changes have not been made to major. I hope you understand that we've edited the main branch, but the major does not have those main tracked files. So that's the meaning of git branch -- no merged. When you click on git branch with the merged flag, you realize that major is now the merged flag, and is the branch with a merged flag, but main is the branch without a merged flag. So let's just check out. Let's just check out back to main, or git switch main. So now that we are back to main, we can push this main to the hosted, or we can publish it to our hosted repository or our remote repository. So in type on git push, this data is now sent to our GitHub account, and we can go there to our GitHub account, and we can confirm that this data is now existing in our GitHub account. And basically that's Git branching and Git merging in a jiffy. I hope you will understand the concepts, and if you don't, please feel free to reach out, and if you can't get to us, then always read the documentation, because the documentation holds a lot of all these things. You can also follow this GitHub URL. You can follow this GitHub URL to find the codes that we've just written here, because immediately you try and access this URL, then you're going to find the codes that were written here, but you don't have to use the .git when you're looking for the URL on GitHub, on your GitHub account. So that's it for today's video, but first we're going to see this bonus command, if it has been added into our repository. So let's navigate to our browser, our browser here, our GitHub browser. Then we refresh this GitHub website, and you notice that there are some changes on this website. You can see that this is even better organized. See, each code is well organized and can be copied as separate entities. Then we also notice that we have a bonus command here, which is the git log. So we'll learn more about git log maybe at a later time. And here we see that the last commit was the bonus line. And that was the last message that was there on our Visual Studio Code. So up till this point, I say thank you for having committed your time to watch this video. We ask you to reach out in the comment section if there's anything that is not well understood. You can give us suggestions on what you want elaborated, on books that you want us to help you, because this we are referring to the Pro Git book on the Git documentation in the official Git website. That is what we are using as our reference to guide you through these few commands. If you feel that there is any other book that you may want elaborated, please feel free to share with us in the description. Also, if there is something that you want extra elaboration on, also just tell us in the comment section, and we'll get back to you. To those in the cohort during this playlist, we also want to ask you to actively use the current WhatsApp group to reach out in case of any help that you may need. Above all, we say thank you for having committed your time to this point, and we wish you a happy coding week. Also, remember to like our video if you like it. If you enjoyed the content, just like our video, share it widely to those who it may benefit, and you can comment about the video, and you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, and by that you'll be supporting us, and we say thank you for all that.